Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world, one book at a time. So let's talk about Ottessa Moshfegh's novel, My Year of Rest and Relaxation. The premise is just wild. You've got this young, beautiful, and totally privileged woman living in New York City right around the year 2000. And she decides she's going to do one thing: sleep for an entire year. Yep, with the help of a hilariously terrible psychiatrist and a whole pharmacy's worth of pills, she kicks off what she calls her hibernation. You know, the book makes it super clear, super fast, that this isn't just about depression. Her whole project is this radical act of refusal. It's a full-on shutdown, because the world around her just feels hollow, totally meaningless. And the really fascinating part? Her extreme escape kind of holds a mirror up to our own lives, doesn't it? To all the little ways we try to numb ourselves. And that brings us to the book's core idea. In a society that tells you constantly that you have to be productive, you have to be happy, you have to be on all the time, what happens when you just stop? For our narrator, a complete shutdown is the only thing that makes sense. It's her strange, twisted way of preserving herself. Yeah, see, this isn't about giving up on life. It's about trying to reboot her entire consciousness. Her theory is that by just refusing to participate in all the systems that are draining her, she can literally be reborn. She can wake up and actually see the world for the first time, without all the baggage. So her hibernation, it's not just some personal quirk. The book treats it like a symptom of these much bigger cultural diseases. It's basically a diagnosis of all the systems that make such a crazy escape feel, well, necessary. First up, you've got the system of performative consumerism. Just look at the narrator and her best friend Riva. The narrator has it all: inherited money, effortless beauty, real designer stuff, and feels absolutely nothing. Riva, on the other hand, is desperately chasing that same status with knockoff bags and credit cards that are completely maxed out. They're both trapped in the exact same game, just on opposite ends of its cruel spectrum. And then there's the system that medicalizes that emptiness. This is perfectly captured by her psychiatrist, the absolutely absurd Dr. Tuttle. Dr. Tuttle sees the narrator's deep alienation not as some profound spiritual crisis, but as a sleep deficit. Her solution isn't to ask why she's so miserable. It's just to prescribe enough drugs to make her forget she is. And get this, Dr. Tuttle has this ridiculous prescribing method she calls eco-scripting. It is a perfect satire of a system that's just all too eager to throw chemical solutions at existential problems. A system so fundamentally broken that you have to game it just to make it work. And beyond all that, the book is also a critique of a third system, our cultural apathy. Remember, this is all happening in the year leading up to 9/11. There's major stuff going on right outside her window. Bush versus Gore, citywide strikes, hurricanes. And to her, it's all just background noise she doesn't really care about. Her ignorance isn't an accident. It's a symptom of a privilege so deep that the only crisis that feels real is the one happening inside her own head. She literally says the world could be ending, and she would have noted it, but wouldn't have worried. Wow. So to get away from all of this, the narrator creates her own little sanctuary. And this brings us to the book's main visual metaphor, the hibernation cave. In her world, sleep isn't passive. It's the ultimate form of power, of freedom. For her, real life, real consciousness, only happens when she's unconscious, totally safe from the exhausting performance of being awake. Think about it. Her luxury apartment on the Upper East Side, the ultimate symbol of success, is completely transformed. It gets dark, cluttered, basically sealed off from everything. It becomes her cave, a deliberate retreat from the superficial light of a world she just can't stand to look at anymore. And when you look at it that way, her whole bizarre, drug-fueled project, well, it starts to seem like a weirdly logical response to the system she's stuck in. Maybe she's not crazy. Maybe she's just paying attention in her own messed up way. And that's exactly why this all matters. Her hibernation kind of forces us to look at our own escape routes. I mean, we might not be popping a cocktail of drugs to sleep for a year, but we all have our own little anesthetics, right? So I'll just leave you with this question. Is our endless scrolling on our phones, our binge-watching shows for hours, our constant need for distraction, is that just a more socially acceptable form of hibernation? Are we also just trying to sleep through a world that feels completely overwhelming, but we just call it something else? This incredibly sharp, unsettling, and honestly, darkly hilarious critique of modern life comes from the brilliant mind of author Ottessa Moshfegh.
If any of this diagnosis feels familiar, we really hope you'll dig in deeper. You can read the book, support the author, and grab a copy for yourself, or even just check it out from your local library.
And for our full long-form deep dive into this book and all of its ideas, you can follow the link right there in the description.
If you enjoy these explainers, please go ahead and subscribe and definitely comment with any books or topics you'd like to see us explore next. Thanks for watching.